are Volkswagen IQ Light. So what does all this mean? Well, it's not what you might think. It's not an electric car. It's not a hybrid. It is a gasoline powered Tiguan. They're basically the SUV that started all in the United States for Volkswagen in terms of jumping into the class that is so popular and is basically pushing out most cars. The Tiguan is the one that led to the Taos and the Atlas and the other Atlas. So this is the one that started it all. And this is the latest version of 2025 SEL R-Line Tiguan. So what is this Tiguan? What does it have for us? Come with me and we'll find out. It is a formidable Tiguan, isn't it? This 2025 SEL R-Line. And man, it's a colorful vehicle. Let me tell you something. This beautiful blue hue that you see is called Monterey Blue. And the interior, check this out. The interior, which I will show you in a little bit, is Mistral something leather. It's Mistral. It's happy. It dances about and plays the pipe and all that kind of stuff and gets annoying after a few minutes. Well, not the Mistral, not the interior. But this is our 2025 Tiguan, the one that started it all for Volkswagen in the United States with the current range of crossover SUVs that everybody has. Every manufacturer makes these things. And this was Volkswagen's first. And man, I'm getting rained on. Oh, well, do you mind? You okay? Okay. But it's a beautiful little car. It has a wheelbase of 109.9 inches. We'll call it 110. And it's another one of these. This is such an incredibly competitive and more than anything else, I think it's one of the most utilitarian classes. Now, they do make a slightly smaller one. In the SUV department at Volkswagen. It's called the Taos, and you experienced it recently, I think. Yeah, you did on my channel. This is a little bigger, and I think it's kind of the perfect size for most families because your interior room is a little bit bigger, a little bit longer wheelbase. It's just the one that's in the middle is just right. This is how I kind of look at the size of the Tiguan. It's been really restyled to kind of convey the modern era. I think it's a beautiful vehicle, actually, especially in the Monterey Blue, which is so nice. But, you know, we have such a competitive situation when it comes to this class of vehicle, because that's what appears to be, other than full-size pickup trucks, go figure, the most popular kind of vehicle for people. This would compete with the likes of the RAV4 and the Honda CR-V and your Hyundais. Which Hyundai would this? The Hyundai Toledo? No, that's not the name of it. I think it starts with a Tahoe. Is it Tahoe? Maybe it's Tahoe. But and then you have your Volkswagen, your Ford Explorers, your GMC / Chevrolet Equinox family of vehicles. This is the hot class right now, and it's not hard to see why, because look at everything you get with this vehicle. You get a lot of room for what you need, and you get all-wheel drive, also known as Volkswagen's, I believe it's called 4Motion. It is. That's their all-wheel drive system, and it's a pretty good one. They have a lot of experience making this particular all-wheel drive system because they've been doing it for a long time and refining it And as new technology comes along, they add it on to make it more efficient at not only getting you through slippery stuff, but just getting you down the road with the greatest amount of fuel economy. And incidentally, we have this naturally, like everybody else, almost, we have a turbocharged engine, an inline 4 at 2 liters that produces, I'll tell you in just a minute what it produces when we get under the hood, but it's it has a direct competitive thing to it that goes with every other vehicle in the class. It does things slightly differently. I'd say the biggest difference between this and all the competition is how they do their interiors and how they do their control interface. Because everything else, size-wise, capability-wise, even getting to the to the point of general technology, they're all getting to be pretty much the same, and they even look a lot the same. This one is interesting to me because it looks a little different from the Tiguans that came before it and the rest of the class when it first appeared, because it's a little more aerodynamic than the previous version of the Tiguan. And it's not a huge vehicle in terms of weight. It's 3,800 pounds, so that's nice and light. And like I said, we'll try to distinguish it from the other guys in the category, because it's getting to be such a competitive field, and everybody's doing a lot of it pretty much the same way. So let's look under. I'll tell you one difference right off the bat is underneath the hood we have the Volkswagen way, and we'll examine it and discuss it, and you will know which one is right for you in this class. Well, I tell you, I do love getting a vehicle that hasn't been tested too excessively, because it's beautiful underneath. It's clean. Just like if you were to go to the Volkswagen showroom and see this vehicle, this is what you would see. It's beautiful. And that allows us to examine it with great pleasure. So what do we have? Well, of course, as you probably already expected, this being mid-size, compact / mid-size crossover SUV, we have an inline 4 engine that is mounted transversely. Something I should note. For the last few years, if you've followed my channel, and who hasn't, oh, well, everybody pretty much, you may have noticed that Volkswagen was slowly but surely kind of doing away with engine covers. And then they had kind of the last Volkswagen I tested, if I remember right, had a minimal engine cover, which I thought was beautiful. And they had dressed up what was underneath here a lot more. And now we're back to having an engine cover, and it's this flexible material that is thick, and it's obviously in place more than anything else to quiet things down, because we do have direct injection on this. I believe it's your TSI. Let me see here. Yep. Volkswagen has a real interesting way of doing their fuel injection, because they're trying to tackle the problem that you get with gasoline direct injection engines, which is carbon buildup over time. And it doesn't happen until higher mileage, but it does, and then you have to clean out the intake runners, well, actually it's not where is it? Yeah, it does accumulate in the intake runners, right around the valves actually. So it has a system that uses a variety of different tricks to keep that from building up and to give you good, solid fuel injection that is very, very beneficial to efficiency and power. Speaking of power, we have our 201 horsepower at between 5,000 and 6,000 RPM, not 200, 201, and we have a torque 200 and I think I can't read my own handwriting. 221 foot-pounds of torque at 1,500 to 4,750 RPM. That's your peak. So that is beautiful as far as the low end, and that's because of what do we have back here? What's here? Right there. That's it. We have a turbocharger. And the nice part about this, take a look at this. So many of these inline 4s with the turbochargers have the turbocharger really crammed in between here and the firewall. But here there's a little bit of room. And naturally, here's your air box, right there. And there's what your air intake, you see, goes directly into the turbocharger. Now, there's also a hose down here that goes directly into the fuel injection system and the intake system. So what happens is the air, the nice, clean, fresh air goes into that turbocharging array. The impeller that's spinning from the exhaust gases spins the impeller that compresses or turbocharges the fuel, actually the air mixture. That goes all the way around to an intercooler somewhere. I believe it's in the front of the car. And then it cools it back down, but it's still dense and packed and turbocharged. And then that goes into the intake system, and you get the additional power from the turbocharging that way. And as you can see, you get rain on the engine. I'm sorry about that, folks. Something weird about this car is I've noticed when I stop it, and I've been out driving and I stop it and pull in the parking lot, pull into, you know, your hardware or something like that. Maybe I may go to the feed store, something like that. You will find feed store. Where are they? I don't see them. Where are those? Where are those animals? Oh, they escaped. The fans are turning. You get out of the car and the fans keep running and keep running and keep running for a while. So that's obviously in the role of cooling the engine down. Now, why does it do that and most of them don't, the other guys? I don't know. But it may be something that will stabilize the engine. So instead of you go from super hot down to cold, maybe it's more gradual in that it stays cool and it doesn't have a chance to heat up when all the cooling system stops and all the fans stop. By having the fans running again, who knows? And there may be a pump involved with circulating coolant. I have no idea. But I haven't actually seen this on the car for a long, long time. That used to be not unusual at all. But now it seems to be. And I find that fascinating, personally. Here is our 12-volt battery right there underneath this little protection device. I like that. And by the way, our oil, you can access your oil right here. What kind of oil does it take? 0W20, very common, really easy to get a hold of, so that's nice. I love that rather than like 0W13 or some weird ass thing that a lot of these cars are using these days. This is 020 is widely available. As a matter of fact, if I were to go out on a limb, I'm going out on this limb, I would say it's probably the most common type of oil at the moment is 0W20. Across the line of vehicles, even some pickup trucks and all kinds of things. So we have our structures. We have structure A, structure B here, all designed to make sure. Wow, did you hear that? I hear valves opening and closing. This is a real busy car when it's parked. It's doing, fans are going and all kinds of stuff, but all in the name of longevity, and also that all the cars nowadays have systems on them with keep the fuel system pressurized such that gas fumes don't get out, because gas fumes, believe it or not, contribute quite a bit to climate change. They really do. You're talking about a carbon footprint situation. So something else that's fascinating about this car I noticed right off the bat. Look at these hinges, these enormous hinges that are put on here for the hood. Now, why are they up there like that? Why are they, I don't know, other than I think this is probably all of the crash resistance. Do we have crash? Let me look down here. Do we have crash results here? We may not have it yet. Yes. Not rated, not rated, not rated, not rated. I guess it's so new, this particular 25 version, the new version of the Tiguan, that they don't have it yet. But it looks like a lot of work's gone into making this a very safe vehicle in the unpleasant and hopefully unlikely event that you are involved in a collision of some sort. So there's our little 2-liter, our 2-liter inline 4, beautiful little engine, waiting for you. And by the way, they say, this is what they say, it gets 22 miles per gallon city, 30 highway, and 25 overall. So we'll see. We'll see. We are measuring it as we speak to find out exactly what we have. So, with further ado, no further ado. You want some further? Nah, you don't want further ado. We'll move on now to the other neat features of the exterior of this vehicle and also have a peek in the cargo area. Well, there we have it. A very large tire. A 255/40 R20 is our tire size on our Pirelli Scorpion all-terrain or all all things to all season. There it is. It's all something. But there we are, and really, really enormous brake rotors and brake calipers. So, and that's always been a very strong feature with Volkswagens, is excellent brakes. As you can see, we have a cartridge type front suspension. I used to call them McPherson struts, but people are just calling them cartridge. Same thing, I think, but you know, that's what it's being called now. So that's what we'll call it now. We're not going to not call it what it's supposed to be. Ah, yes, the Monterey Blue. 109.9, I call it 110 inches of wheelbase. And as you can see, the rear doors are sizable. So we have that situation where we're trying to figure out how to best combine cargo room with passenger room. And it's a difficult thing for a designer to come up with, because they have to make decisions together. And you'll have your people that want more space in the passenger area, and then you'll have people that want more cargo area, and they argue and they fight and they start throwing pencils and laptops at each other, and it's wild. Now, something really interesting happened a few minutes ago. It came to my attention that, there we are, the windows in the car had mysteriously opened on their own. And I was assuming, well, it's one of those convenience things, right? That it'll completely open for you if you press the key fob a certain way. And it was in my pocket, and I was kneeling on the ground, so maybe that's what happened. But then I tried to put them all up using the various things, and I consulted the owner's manual and everything, and I couldn't get these windows to do anything with the key fob. And so I had to manually put them all up, meaning I had to use every individual switch to put all the windows back up. And the windows came down when it started raining. I'm not making that up. So that's a mystery. I'm not even going to try to solve it, because I'm sure the machine's smarter than I am. But consult your dealer. That's what I would say, and ask them about that. If you live somewhere where it might be really inconvenient with the windows just go down on their own. Now, what do we have here? A power rear gate, yay! I don't have the room figures for you right away here, but they'll be on the bottom of the screen. But this is very nicely finished. Oh, you even have this deep area, this well of area here. This is pretty good. You have 60-40 split fold-down seats to increase the cargo area, which is already very generous. And beneath here, we have a spare tire, a temporary spare tire, but one that you can absolutely use to save your bacon. If you're on the trail somewhere and you have a puncture, you have a spare tire, which is really important on all kinds of vehicles, especially something you might take off-road slightly. This has pretty decent ground clearance, so you could get yourself into trouble. I mean, you could you could go off-road a little bit with this thing, especially things like if you're headed to that hidden camping site on a Forest Service road. You could use that. That'll work. So very, very roomy, a nice big opening gate. The lift over is a good compromise between height and not height. And then there's the blue. God, I just love this color. So that's our exterior, and as you can tell, it's very, very stylish and kind of different from the previous versions of the Tiguan. If you go all the way back when it first started, the magic little 4Motion Tiguan had what I thought to be a lot boxier appearance. And it's named after, incidentally, I think some kind of a desert patrol something. I'm not entirely sure. But it's interesting what it's named after. You look it up on the gurgle, and or don't use the gurgle, use the duck duck. I strongly advise you use the duck duck and not the gurgle. But a really nice looking car, and a real nice allotment of space, in my opinion. We'll get deeper into that once we get into the interior. But that is one of the #1 things about the compact / mid-size SUV crossover class, is space utilization, because that's where they come in most handy. It's basically replaced the family station wagon, which disappeared years ago and was replaced by the family minivan. And now this is on its way out, if you're not careful, because It's being replaced by the family full-size four-door pickup truck, which, well, I'll just leave that right there. This gets much better gas mileage, let me put it that way. Onward to the interior. Hey, you know what's weird? Everything, everywhere. But other than that, welcome, friend. We are Tiguaning. You know, I said earlier that the Tiguan was the first in the series of USA SUVs from Volkswagen. That's so not true in a way. Because there was the Thing from Volkswagen. Wasn't it called the Thing? But more to the point, we had the Touareg. And the Touareg is no longer. But it was the first. I remember that thing, and it was a beast. If I remember, it had a much larger body than this, but maybe it wasn't that much bigger. But the Tiguan is now, I kind of feel like size-wise, it fills the role that the Touareg used to fill. And Touareg, of course, was named after, I believe, a desert fighting group or something like that. The Tiguan, I'll put it on the bottom of the screen if I figure it out. I don't know what it means, but I'm sure it means something. They usually do. But anyway, welcome, friend, welcome. Here is our instrument cluster. And do we have variations on our instrument cluster? Well, yeah, we do. We have a few variations we can do here. Here's view, right down here where my thumb is. And I press view, and this happens. Ooh, this is a different configuration. It tells me I have 297 miles since I refueled, so that's how many miles I've driven on this tank. Wow, that's a lot. There's that trip down to Terrytown. That was interesting. I had to go see Mr. Wonka in Terrytown. And we have a compass on the left. That's kind of interesting. But you can adjust what's over on the side here. You have a compass. You have start, stop. You have the telephone, audio, navigation, operating temperatures. Ooh, let's do that. Look at that, the oil temperature and the coolant temperature right there. So, and what else can we do? We can do lane assist, speed warning, side assist, that's interesting. That's your blind spot warning. They call it the side assist though. Rear traffic alert, front assist, and then you can close it and go back to that. So there is a lot of variation, and that's just on the left side. If we go on the right side, look at there. It's basically the same sort of thing. Settings is what I was just looking at, by the way. And then we have display, average economy, travel time distance, total distance, operating temperatures. Basically the same menu that you had on the left side, but you can put it, so you can balance it exactly how you want. And to the best of my knowledge, you can pretty much do that with all the settings. This is a different one. You got your radio on over here, Taj Mahal and Keb Mo. That's a great song, My Darling, My Dear. You ought to get that. You ought to get their album. It's great. It's called Taj Mahal. That's what they call when they do a CD together. But anyway, and then you have this massive tachometer in the middle. See, woo, woo. And then you have your digital speedometer in the middle. So you got choices, and then you can go back to my favorite, which is a much more conventional type of array. And then, but what about the middle? Well, here's your middle right here. You can put the map display right there. You can put this information here, which is 33.4 miles per gallon, if true. And I think it probably is quite good. But a lot of highway miles. But this thing has a fairly small engine in it, as you know. It's 2-liter. So great stuff. I mean, it's if you're going to have the flat screen, non-mechanical analog instrument cluster, which pretty much everyone does nowadays, it's very nice to have all these variations, so you can literally pick and choose and put it in the in exactly the format you'd like it, that has the information you want up there, but not the information you don't. So that's great. That's our instrument cluster, and I like it. I think it's done, well done. I think this is called the Volkswagen Visual Cockpit. Let's see here. I'm looking. I don't have the right glasses on. I can't read my own stuff. I think it's called the Volkswagen Visual Cockpit. Pardon me. Let's just assume that's it. Oh my God, it's raining. It's raining something. I don't even know where my phone, oh, here it is. I'll take care of that immediately. There we go. All right, now then. What we have over here is our lighting array, and I like the fact that it's lit up where your lights are. And you have automatic, of course, and you have basically the parking or running lights, and then you have your regular headlights. I don't think, as near as I can tell, we have a automatic dimmer on this vehicle. I don't think we do. I haven't, I don't think I've driven this thing at night yet. No, we do. There we go. I just switched it on. It's on automatic, and that's headlights are now on, and we'll leave it on automatic for right now. But it does have that variation. This is a particular SEL, and SEL, of course, means sell. They're trying to sell you the car. I mean, they're just being honest. I mean, I give them that because that makes a lot of sense. But on this particular trim line, they got a lot of, there's not a lot lacking in terms of really nice features. It's pretty much loaded, I would think. I would call it that. And it's also the R-line. R-line. So you got that going for you. The R-line. Another one is like people are calling it red line. It's weird how different manufacturers are all using similar nomenclature with some of this stuff. But that's just the way it is. Oh, you got a little bit of sun coming through there. Look at that. There we are. Okay, now, here's one thing I don't like about the car. And this is minor. And it's perfectly reasonable why it's the way it is. Allow me to illustrate. Your turn signal over here also has all your incredibly elaborate array of windshield and rear gate washing equipment. This is how you access it all, and it's also on the turn signal right there, which you use for TUs, instead of being over here on the right hand side where you would expect it to be. But the reason it's not there is because we have what I would describe as a Hyundai style, and I really don't know if Volkswagen had it first or if Hyundai had it first. But to put it in gear, you put your foot on the brake down there. Really nice pedals on this car. You tilt it up, and you go into drive. You tilt it down, you go into reverse. Pop it up, that's neutral. Now, if you're in drive and you hit S, that goes into sport mode. Now, as far as shifting manually, no. That would be the Tiptronic transmission. This does not have that. And, instantly put it into park. Press the button right there. And what just happened? It got quieter. It got so quiet all of a sudden. That's because the air conditioner has done its bit for the moment. And we also have the engine start stop, which is activated. That's the main reason the air conditioner went down. But anyway, that's an interesting shifter. It's pretty easy to get used to if you're not used to that kind of shifter, and you wouldn't be unless you're driving like a Hyundai. They love them. And now Volkswagen's using it too, and it's fine. The only thing I find it strangely missing is you don't have that sport mode. You can, I think, I've messed with it a little bit, and I think you can get it to shift manually, but the problem is, in my opinion, it's not near as convenient or easy as having a shifter down here with a stalk that you hit and go back and forth to shift up and shift down, or the Tiptronic type paddles on here that would allow you to shift. So that's just an oddity. All right, I've been saving the big thing for you for this next step. Are you standing up? Are you sitting down? You probably are. Do you have the laptop parked on your chest? Some people do that. But the big thing is, look at the size of this screen. This is like Toyota Tundra size. I don't know. Shall I try to read again? God, I just don't have on the right glasses for this. It's too small. I'm saying it's close to 12 to 14 diagonally here, but it's huge. And as you can say, it's designed such that it rides just below your sight line for the hood, which is good. But you know, the more I get used to these right away, and it's nice to have a huge navigation map, which this has. And can you pinch and go out? You bet you can. Look, let's go all the way out. Look, we're in. There's Washington D.C. and there's Ottawa, Canada, and there's Indianapolis, Indiana. Look there. The big map is great. It's nice to have a very large map, but at the same time, whenever you see a huge screen like this, odds are it is also a big screen that runs everything in the car. In other words, there are no like radio tuning knobs or anything like this. What we do have, this is volume for your radio right here. But this, strangely enough, also serves, if you turn it, you get your volume, but if you press the button, you get your different driving modes. And what do we have? We have Comfort, Eco, Comfort, Sport, Custom, Off-Road, and Snow. There, the engine just kicked back on. Oh, wait a minute. What's Atmospheres? How do I get there? I want to see Atmospheres. Atmospheres. Maybe if I keep going that way. No. This way? That way? There we go. Atmospheres. Ooh, I didn't know this existed, guys, girls, boys and girls, and all ships at sea. How about me? God, what's me? I don't want to see me. Well, that's me. I don't know what the hell that's about. Energetic. Wait a minute. I'm hearing things. No, that's the radio. Okay. Atmosphere. Oh, I guess I got it. I'm sorry. It's what took me so long. It's we have all this interesting digital stuff, lighting around the car. Mood lighting, I think, is the correct term. And I could now put it on joy, and it should be. Yeah, see, it's all joy now. And then I could go to nature. Nature is yellow. Maybe in the fall, but energetic, minimal. Oh, that's very small now. It's very minimum in its thingy. Me, what the hell is me? I don't know. So we'll go back to I like a dark blue, but I don't. Oh, lounge. That's it. We're in the lounge now. Hey man, this next tune I'm gonna roll for you is something dark and dank, but it makes everybody want to dance. So everybody, welcome to the club. See, that's what that is. That's man, that's the weirdest thing. I like it. I like weird sometimes, and I like that. That's a weird I like. Now, what I don't like is I don't like having to excuse me, take my. I don't like losing my voice every 10 minutes. I don't like having to take my eyes off the road in order to use all this stuff here as far as your climate control. And this is something that's a little unusual. It appears to have heated seats and ventilated seats, but the ventilated seats, I haven't been able to get them to, excuse me, that's that one. The one I'm sitting, let me try this over here. I can hear it. Oh, okay. I think it is, let's get this out of here. I think it is primarily in the lumbar area where you get your ventilation. Yeah, I think that's where it is. A lot of cars, they just go hog wild when you hit the ventilation mode on it. It just goes crazy. We'll get back to this beautiful Mistral leather seat in a moment. But anyway, most of your heating, ventilation, air conditioning stuff is all up in there, and you got to touch screen it in order to do it. And like we have a lot of the slide stuff here. If you want to increase and decrease your temperature, you do it right there. How do I synchronize the two? Where's the sync? I don't know. Well, what if I hit auto? Will it light up there? No. Climate, if I do that. There we go. Auto, smart. Well, look at all the variations. Oh, well, we have a heated steering wheel. Look at that. I didn't even know about that. But this is one of the things. Do you really want to come into all this when you're driving? You know what I mean? I like just having regular, and I think people have been letting the manufacturers know they're not wild about this kind of setup where you have so much stuff. It's great while you're parked. I mean, you can't beat it while you're parked, but I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is a bit disturbing. Incidentally, while we're on the enormous screen, I have an Apple phone, and this is Apple CarPlay, and there is, in case you guys never seen this stuff, I've just started using it recently. I know it's years old, but I've started using it. And like, here's WAS, which is my favorite navigation. Loading, please wait. What? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I hit you by mistake? No. There's WAS. There's our navigation system, which works great in this. But if you come down here, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. These are all quiet. If I hit this should be showing me all my. Are you watching this?
I'll need to access your SiriusXM data to use the app. Is that okay?
No.
I will not then.
You damn now, you bet your ass. There's what I'm looking for. That's what you saw me press that. But anyway, these are some of the apps that are available on your phone that you can, like if this was an electric car, I'd hit Electrify America if I wanted to find a charging station, or Charge Point, that's another one. You got different pocket casts, which is a podcatcher type of thing. Now here's my radar. Can we see my radar? Let's have a look. It's loading, it's going through my telephone. It's trying to find me. Anyway, we don't have any clouds at the moment. It's still loading. Not exactly what I would describe as lightning fast. But do we have like a crappy signal right here? Probably. Well, anyway, you get the point. You have the. There we go. Oh, look, there's some. Look at that there. We have some showers out there in Pennsylvania, heading toward us. Nah, they'll probably never make it here. But anyway, if I go back, how do I go back? Look, we have two different navigation systems. We have that one, which is the onboard, and we have this one, which is the onboard. See, this is why it's fun, folks. I do this live without any actual prep. I have been driving this car for a number of. Why every time I hit that do you try to access Sirius? I just want to go back to WAS. There, okay. But anyway, that's another bit of mayhem and extremely violent interactions with human beings that we have on these cars that use either CarPlay with Apple or what's it called, Google Auto, something like that. These are my cup holders where I have put a tea while I'm discussing this with you. That's just a little holder. But wait a minute, Boots. Boots, is there some way I can charge my phone while I'm driving? Yeah, this is interesting. If you look over here, I'll try to get this out of the way. There we are. You have two USB-C things, but to charge it, your phone, you slide it in here and it has a clamp. And it affixes it to the QI charging system. And this works great because if you're using CarPlay, you don't need to really access your phone anyway, which is good. Get it out of there. And it also securely charges it. And the CarPlay, incidentally, the interaction does not require, obviously, a cable. It's done with Bluetooth. So this is all good modern stuff for you. Now here's another weird oddity. We have the oddity of the shifter, and we have the oddity of the start-stop engine thing, which is right here. Oh, you do like that purple I chose, don't you? Yeah, you do. Here's your parking brake, also known as your emergency brake. And this is the volume for the radio, like I said. And also, if you turn it, it is the setting. Press it and turn it. We have that. Then you press it again. How do I get over to that thing? Oh, driving modes. There we go. And you have driving modes. See, you got to learn these things. You got to learn the vehicle. Oh, we don't want to be on snow, do we? Comfort? Eco? Yeah, we'll do eco. So there you are. It's different. Volkswagen is different. Always has been different. But it's a good different. And a lot of their stuff is fairly logical. They're going down the wrong path, in my opinion, like most manufacturers are putting more and more stuff on the touchscreen. And that's why we've had so many increases in automobile crashes and fatalities. I think it's starting to drop back down a little bit, but it's the number one complaint that people have when they buy cars nowadays is all this. They overdo it. And they need to learn the happy medium between having tactile controls that you really don't have to take your eyes off the road in order to operate. And speaking of things, naturally all of the audio stuff is operated through this thing, but there are no separate, the on-off switch is this little bitty guy way down here, and then the volume is all the way down here, which we showed you before. So why does that make sense? Why not do what everybody else has been doing since time immemorial and put a little round knob that you push or turn all the way off to turn it on and off, and just turn it to, that's so much simpler, and you can do it completely without ever taking your eyes off of anything. So worth thinking of, manufacturers. Yeah, they all hate me. Pretty good, very well lit, I will say that, glove box. You could get a smaller tablet in there, tablet PC unit, pad-like thing. Our seats are wonderful. The support on, and this is not unusual for Volkswagen in the least, but very dramatic side bolsters for extreme cornering. Although I don't recognize that in this vehicle. I don't recommend that in this vehicle because it's pretty top heavy compared to a sedan. It still handles very, very nicely, and it's very secure in its handling, but you know, be careful out there. And as you can see, the workmanship in general is very, very nice. It's very elegant. It's not over the top. It's just very, very well executed. And our radio is, of course, is it a Harman Kardon? It sure is. And it sounds excellent. Look at this beautiful panorama. It goes all the way back, and then we have our, I gotta get this right here. Oops, I didn't mean that. God. Turn that off, sorry. There we go, okay. And here comes the shade. It doesn't take, well, I'll put it this way. It takes its time closing. And it doesn't close completely to an opaqueness, but it definitely is a shade. But I recommend keeping it open because, man, that's just, I think that's what that is, yeah, I'm not touching anything when I'm doing that. It's one of these things that they don't even want you to have to touch it to do stuff. It's just if it's close enough. Matter of fact, Volkswagen, one of the last Volkswagens I had, it was very gesture sensitive, and I don't like that. I may even have it may be gesture sensitive, and I've just got it turned off. That's crazier things have happened than that. But your blind spot warning, incidentally, on this car, as you can see, there's our mirror over there, and the blind spot warning is right inside the housing of the mirror. So it's not actually in the mirror surface itself. That's a little different. You get used to it pretty quick, but a lot of people are used to, when they're checking their mirror and changing lanes, they are used to looking at the mirror surface itself, and so that's just something different, Volkswagen-ish. Tilt and telescope on your steering, of course, and I did not go over this at length. There's so much to talk about with this car, but we have different modes in terms of our cruise control. And you hit the mode button and you have three settings. You have cruise control, which doesn't do anything but hold that speed. Then you have adaptive cruise control. Let's see if I can get this thing to do it. God, it won't do it while I'm sitting. E? What is E? S1? E? God, this is a new setting now. I don't know. S1. I don't want Sport 1. Okay, drive is what we want. And then we'll do this, and we'll act like we're going forward. I don't know why it's saying E. That's interesting. Well, let me try this here. Look here. I can't do this. I'll show it to you when we're driving, but you have 3 settings for your cruise control. I'm going to put this back in park now so I don't go off into the shrubbery. You have 3 settings, E and R. E. Is it E, economy instead of drive? I mean, what the? This is the adventure we live together. But 3 different settings. You have old-fashioned cruise control. It literally just holds the speed and will crash right into a car in front of you. Well, it won't do that, I don't think, but it does not regulate following distance. Then you have adaptive cruise control, which does. And then you have, I believe it's called travel assist, which will also regulate the lane position on the car. And to which it is, I'll put it this way, it's not the best system I've ever seen on cars as far as lane tracing goes. And it really does not like grooved pavement. Boy, weird things happen if you have it on and you hit some grooved pavement. That could just be the tires on this car, because not all the tires that a new car gets are the exact same make of tires. A lot of times they have several different ones they use that are considered to be appropriate. So, all right, I'm glad I remembered that. And then on your right side, you got stuff that this is where I was accessing all the different settings you could put on your instrument cluster. And then you could have talk to the car mode. And then where's the stuff for the radio? Well, I'll tell you, it's right down here. This is channels back and forth. And this is volume right there. So volume here, volume here, channels here. It's kind of a scattered situation. You're going to have to learn it because there's not a whole lot of logic to that. So, and incidentally, in case I didn't show you, these are slide. If I want to, let's open. Here, we'll open it up now. Woo! This is a very substantial moonroof. Yes. Well, anyway, but it's slide controlled, so you do it. That's like a Tesla thing. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I will not comment at this time. All right, let's check out the back, because the back is important. Look at that flashy color selection I have selected. We have very large back doors, so access is easy. The car's freaking out because it doesn't know what I'm doing. All it knows is that the key has left for the moment. But very easy to access. Again, this beautiful upholstery, this Mistral leather, very nicely executed. Now, once we get in, I have the front seat back a ways. Plenty of room. You got lots and lots of leg room. You have lots of foot room. Let's see, how do we do with our winders? 100%. Excellent. Pretty good, huh? You have 2, not 1, but 2 USB-C ports right there. You got ventilation here. You got this fancy bit here. It's shut down most of the power on the car because I got out and opened the door. There's all these safety features that cars have. Some of them are good, some of them are dumb, in my opinion. We have good map lights, though. A good map light is well, it's good. We have a very, very shallow type of, you could get a magazine in here, or maybe a small paperback book, but I don't think many, well, yeah, you could get a tablet computer in there, I think. There's a fairly good sized drive tunnel. Now this is an all-wheel drive vehicle, so we have drive shafts and things going through that. It's pretty moderate, but could you get 3 people back here? Yeah, you could. The center seat would the person in the center seating area would have to splay their legs, but you could do it. It's actually a fairly wide. It kind of reminds me. It's reminiscent of the Atlas because it has massive, massive headroom like the Atlas does, and it also is a very wide. There's a lot of hip room and stuff because it's a fairly wide back seat. This gets top marks for your rear passengers. because there really is a lot of room back here, and that equates to very, very good cargo room as well. So it's a very nice rear seat. They've done a good job. Now, what can we do? Can we slide? No, we can't slide. Can we recline? No, not really. But I'll tell you what, why would you need to on this one? Because it actually, the rake of the rear seat is very, very comfortable. They did a good job with that. So, and the lovely part too here is your panorama roof goes all the way back over your head, just about over your head back here. So it really adds a feeling of spaciousness to an already very, very spacious rear seat. So there you go. It shut everything off because I left the car for a minute, but this has been your 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan SEL R-Line interior. Changes that come with the winds of the season. Well, it sure is gloomy today. I apologize for taking you on a gloom-ridden driving experience in our Tiguan. But look at the size of this thing. I'm gonna keep harping about it because it's just enormous. It's like being in a, what are those? Sleslas? What are they called? I don't know what they're called. But I personally, I think like it's a fine art to put the right size screen in the interior. And this one is a little bit large to me, a little larger than I like. But that doesn't mean it's larger than it should be, because a lot of people like it. I mean, look at the size of the map. This map, of course, is our, I'm using Apple CarPlay, so this is a WAS app and not the, but here's the thing. What's this? What's this here? Oh, it's not telling me. Oh, map. There we go. See, here's the map that comes with the car with the onboard navigation system, which is really great. I really like that. The fact that you can go back and forth with the greatest of ease. Yes. There we go. So you have your choice of maps just like that. That's nice. I really like that a lot. Because a lot of times when you're, certain vehicles that I've been in, when you're on CarPlay, it won't let you easily get back to the navigation system that's on board the car if you're lucky enough to have one. Because they're charging subscription fees and doing all kinds of crap these days, as you know. Our little 2-liter turbo is a very nice little engine for this vehicle. It seems to be doing a nice job. Well, here's another thing interesting about while I'm on the subject, let me address the fact that there's a map here too, in between on our instrument cluster, of which we have a choice of a few different. I can show you. See, they can do this, can do that, it can do this, it can do that. This is my favorite. But the map that's inside here is the actual onboard map, not the WAS map. The last vehicle I had, which was Think Man. Oh yeah, it was. I think it was. I'm not even positive about this, but I believe it was the Hyundai Ioniq 9, and it had, when you had the WAS map activated through CarPlay, it was also displaying it here. But this is the onboard map that comes with the navigation system in the car. And I like that. I think that's good. I don't have a problem with that. But as you can see, look at the size, the vastness. And so that just makes you want to drive places, doesn't it? You know, look at all these. I want to go down to Bedlam Road here, over here. How about Palmer Road? Go there. But it's very easy to ring. Oh my God, it tinkled at me. Let me see what this message is, because you can easily access through CarPlay.
Danielle said I got corn. Would you like to reply?
Excellent.
It says excellent. Send it.
Send it.
Done.
Now, she got corn because the corn is we're in corn season right now, and where we get our corn is kind of fantastic. It's the best corn. I had an older lady tell me, "You'll never find any corn better than right here, right now." She was right. You know, it's a sweet corn, and it is on the cob there, and it's beautiful. But also beautiful is this the repaving job they've done on this road. It used to be one of my favorite test roads because of all the bumpy turns in it, but now they're just smooth turns. There's a bump, but this vehicle's in comfort mode right now, and if I put it in sport mode, I'm sure it'll probably shift at different points than it's shifting right now, but it handles very nicely. It still feels like an SUV because of the high architecture, which is, lately every SUV I've driven that has had higher architecture has felt like an SUV to me. And there's a few out there that don't. And they do that through the miracle of something. I think it's just excellent suspension tuning. And they also, more and more, are using more and more aluminum parts up top and high-strength steel below and stuff. But anyway, the heavier components of the car are absolutely kept lower so that the car handles better. And some don't do it as well as others. But it's not like this handles bad at all. It doesn't. It handles great. It's a very good handling SUV, but you can still tell you're in an SUV because it does have that boxy sort of big old thing feel. It's kind of like this screen. It's huge. Well, it's not huge. If you want to get huge with Volkswagens, abandon the Tiguan, abandon the Taos, and go straight to the Atlas. And then you're getting into some serious space. Boy, those are both the Atlas and the Atlas Sport are roomy vehicles, man. They have a lot of them. If you have a big crew to haul around, that's an excellent choice. If room is your jam, it's a great one. But if you don't need as much room, Volkswagen has some very nice SUVs like this one. And suspension's very good on this. It seems to be tuned in a very balanced manner in terms of both suspension compliance and also firm enough for very, very good precise handling. And how are the brakes? Shall we apply them? I shall apply them. As I have to, there's a stop sign. And the brakes are very nice. Very good. Nice progressive feel. I do like that in my braking. 8 speeds. 8 speeds for our little 2-liter turbo. Now this is a much rougher pavement, but rougher pavement. God. I shouldn't be eating with an invisible hamburger while I'm driving and talking at the same time. Alrighty. Now we're going to get to really give her the welly here in a minute. I do think. Although it's the time of day that I could be here for till tomorrow at this point in time. This road can just be so congested. There goes a big old Tundra. Oh, he's stopping though. Are you letting me over? I don't know what you're doing. But here we go. It's no rocket ship. Is it suitably quick? Absolutely. People put too much, in my opinion. That's why I never do 0 to 60 times anymore, because people put way too much weight on how fast something accelerates, because they're all pretty good right now. They're all in a perfectly reasonable state of acceleration that if you have any brains in your head on how you drive, you got all the power you need. But it's always been, people always want that other little bit. That's why so many pickup trucks now are tuned with these engines that are turbocharged within an inch of their life to get the maximum number of numbers out of there, the highest horsepower and torque figures. And I don't think, the problem I have with it, you have to balance, everything's being turbocharged, as you know. It seems that way anyway. That's why I get so excited when I have a car that isn't these days. And the problem is, in my opinion, is longevity because, well, it's not just longevity, but they're related to each other, and that's the complexity. And then, because of this incredible complexity, you have all these components, and you have far more components that can wear out. And a lot of this depends too. Turbochargers are themselves are very simple, really. I mean, they just need to have. God, what is wrong with my voice? They just seem to need to have adequate cooling because they run hot, and they also need to have really good bearings in them that'll last and last and last and last. It's very important. All right, we're going to activate something here. Let's activate this. Let's activate that. Mode. Let's say what mode we want to be in. Automatic cruise control. No, let's go to travel assist, and then we'll set it right there. And nothing's happened. I managed to somehow turn everything off. How did I do that? You piece of... Okay, here we're going to try again now. Where did it go? Why hasn't it activated? Ah! There we go. And there we go. No? Yes? What do I got to do to get you to go, man? This is like annoying as hell. There we go. All right. But we now have our travel assist on. And I'm pressing it oh, I see. I'm sorry. There we go. My fault. I just got in this vehicle after driving another vehicle that uses a completely different interface to the cruise control system, so I'm learning this one as we drive. Oh, and how close do I want to be? Where's that? Here it is. There we go. I want to be that close. So far it's doing fine. It's able to read the lanes primarily through the camera system, which is up here, and the LiDAR and all these other things. And all these things combine together to give a signal to the car about what to do. You have a signal going to the electric steering, which is capable of steering the car. Now let's see what this car does, what this thing does now, because this guy's turning off. How long will it be before it determines the road is clear? Pretty quick. And now it's taking us back up to my speed. That's impressive. That's good. That can be a real challenge for some adaptive cruise control systems and self-driving systems. That can be a lot for all of them. But that did very well. Now, I seem to be drifting over here, though. Look at that. It just went all the way off the lane because I guess it can't see it anymore. So our travel assist is no longer assisting us. Now it is. Now, what caused that? Why did it do that? Why did it turn itself off? And I had no big warning anywhere that told me that, oh, by the way, the car is no longer steering itself. Look at this. I'm telling you, these systems are not baked. They're still, look at that. Why did it just do that? That's insane. Oh, I'm sorry, Travel Assist. I give you low marks. That was ridiculous. Did you see that? It literally drove me into the opposite lane. I have no idea why it did that. I'll tell you when I'm moding you down. I'm getting rid of the steering input, and we're going now to adaptive cruise. That's where you should leave them. Adaptive cruise seems to work overall very well. There are limitations to it too, but you can absolutely use that. But man, when any of these self-steering systems, I don't think I've driven one that hasn't made some kind of a weird error. Although that's really bad, what just happened. Interesting. So So we are travel advisor, not advisory, travel assist. What's it called? Yeah, travel assist. We're travel assisting, which means we have a steering input by the vehicle, and I'm just Captain Dunsel. I'm just sitting there with my thumbs on the damn steering tiller. I got my thumbs on the yoke. Oh, thank you very much. Still there? I believe it is. Hang on. It seems to be doing a fairly good job here without being too obtrusive or otherwise goofy. But I did have an incident, which I don't know if you've seen that yet. I believe I left that on. Whoa, look at this. We're weaving. Truck's weaving. Should I put that on here? Yeah, there's not any really construction going on here, in my opinion. Now let's do this.
Construction reported ahead.
We'll see. We'll see how far. 0.1 miles. Look out for Mr. Tempur-Pedic. Mr. Tempur-Pedic. There we go. It's mowing. Mr. Tempur-Pedic is causing problems.
Watch out. Vehicle on shoulder ahead.
All right. Now then, we'll do this. This doesn't do anything if you turn on the turn signal. It doesn't change lanes for you, as many of them do now. Many of them do. This particular Volkswagen just tries to steer down the center of the road for you. And as I can tell here, it's a very interesting thing how the display here indicates what type of vehicle is in front of you, because it just had a truck logo and now it has a car logo, even though what's really in front of me is actually a van. I guess they don't have a van logo. But that is interesting that it distinguishes between a truck and a car. Who knew? I certainly didn't see that one happening. That's on here. This, of course, this massive display here was from my CarPlay interface. It is an app, and this map display is from the car. This map display is from the phone. Oh, it's telling me to do things. It's prompting me. There's something about the lane centering on this that I find somewhat disquieting. I had the problem earlier. I told. Well, if you haven't seen it yet, you will see it. Where it really made quite the error. But it does seem to be doing a lot of minute little adjustments rather than some of the semi-autonomous driving systems now seem to have a little bit of leeway about how it reacts.
In 1
It's
mile.
not.
Continue to I-84 west toward Hartford. Watch
It's
out. Vehicle on shoulder ahead.
yeah. I see it, and it's there. There we go. So I'll have to just spend more time with this to see if it really. You got to remember, it's taking in a lot of different information in order to steer the car down the lane, and there are all kinds of changes that take place as you're driving. For example, how well the stripes are actually painted on the road, because that's one of the things the car looks at. The car is also looking at cars around you, as far as the car directly in front of you at least, and it's taking all this information in.
Use the left 2 lanes to continue to I-84 west
And
toward Hartford.
I am believing that there's probably some kind of an input, since it can see the car in front of us, the LiDAR or a radar or radar range or whatever the heck, Super 8 UV 9000, I have no idea what it is, but it does in fact see that car in front of us, so it may be using that information as well as the visual information of the stripes painted on the road to determine the position of the car in the lane. I do think most manufacturers do things a little bit differently from each other. They have their own, what their own testing and what their own results have gotten them, which they prefer. I think there's quite a bit of that. But for the most part, they work okay. I still think there's some bad things about them, though. They do tend to lull one into a state of not paying attention as well. No question about that. And that's something to worry about, because distracted driving, I think, is one of the most significant problems we face. Now, I heard a statistic last night here in this state that car fatalities are down, but which is great. But I think that's after a period of them going up and up. Up. But it doesn't, that same information did not indicate
1.6 miles.
the number of actual collisions.
Continue on I-84 West.
Then, this would be the rear suspension of our 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan SEL R-Line. Is it R-Line or R-Type? I think it's R-Line. But very interesting. We have good ground clearance, as you can see. I would not take this thing in serious off-road situations because it doesn't look like there's a hole. Here's our fuel tank here, and I don't know if that's very well protected in terms of armor. However, it's high enough up that shouldn't be an issue. But wait, what's this over here? Is this a tank too? Do we have one of these saddle tank situations? Hard to say. Maybe that's something else. Maybe that's just the floor pan, and maybe the fuel tank somewhere else. I don't know. These Germans, they do all kinds of crazy, wild engineering feats. But as usual with this situation, we have a transverse mounted inline 4, as you saw earlier. And what does that tell you? Well, it's primarily a front wheel drive vehicle. However, we have this here, right here, this drive shaft. There it is. It goes right into our differential right here. So it's beautiful. And here is our actuator for our differential right there. So it's probably, most of the time, it's driving around with its front wheels driving everything, and then in the event it is necessary, you'll get an all-wheel drive situation where it will actuate the rear drive shafts, which incidentally, if I may, here's one right here, there's one on the other side there, and what we have here is links aplenty. We have a big lower link right here, which the coil spring sits in a little cup right there. And then you have your outboard mounted shock absorber. You have a lateral link. Can you see that right there? It's also over here, right there. You like my new device? I have a new device. It's much better than the old device. But you have that lateral link there. Then you have a forward link here. Link. What do we have up top? Do we have a top link in here? I'm looking. I think there is. It's dark. I don't know why it's so dark. The sun's out. Huh. What does it all mean? Well, anyway, you have a substantial cradle right here that holds your rear suspension and bolts it to your unibody. This is not a body on frame construction situation. This is a unibody construction. Hence, you have to have the cradle. As in cradle. You're holding up my springs, cradle, and many other things. That's for my friends out there of the Jewish community. You can see very clearly that we have some aluminum parts, and it's primarily steel. But like this front link that attaches to this lateral link right here, that is a big piece of aluminum in there. That's beautiful. So rust-wise, would we have problems down the road with this? In the Northeast, eventually, yes. But at the same time, it looks like it's very well finished. It's nice to get them when they're this new because you can really see the finishing on it before it gets covered forever with dirt, road goo, and if you take it off road, there could be mud, there could be sand, there could be all kinds of things. It has a small engine, as we all know. It's a 2-liter turbo, but it does have a very, very, I think, efficient all-wheel drive system. And the suspension does a very good job at both giving you a comfortable ride. It's firm, but it's comfortable. So we have that. And you also have very good control for good handling. And these, with all these links everywhere, you definitely have, it maintains the proper attitude of the tire in all kinds of extreme situations. Now, speaking of which, right now what we have is we have a compression over here, and we have extension over here. And this is just touching the ground, almost not touching the ground. This is one of my favorite little tests here because you can really tell what's going on in terms of how much travel you have. And then it's that constant conundrum with suspension travel. The more travel you have, the better it is off-road, but you also get kind of loosey-goosey on the road when you're doing some, let us say, aggressive cornering. So this is a very good compromise overall, I think. You do have enough of a situation where the tires do everything they can to stay on the ground when you're driving in a non-smooth substrate situation. So that's what we have here. A very, very sophisticated multi-link suspension on our Volkswagen. Is this found on other Volkswagens? I believe it is. I can't remember right off the bat the degree of which the Atlas uses similar componentry. I'm sure on the Atlas it's bigger and heavier, but here's another interesting thing. Look at these exhaust pipes. They don't come all the way back and out the vehicle. They're basically pointing straight down here and straight down here. It comes in. It's pretty straightforward. Comes in right in the middle of the muffler, and then there's one exhaust pipe here and one exhaust pipe here. So I think that's more for, well, it's not for style because you can't even really see them. It's unusual placement in this day and age because normally everybody likes to run these out and put a little port right in here and make it very stylish. A lot of times it's a triangle or something like that. No, this is like just stick to business type of engineering on this muffler, which is fine. It sounds fine. You know, there's nothing wrong with the way this thing sounds. So anyway, thus we have now experienced the rear suspension on our 2025 Tiguan Volkswagen SEL R-Line. Oh, what do we have up front, by the way? Well, they call it cartridge, I believe. It's McPherson's strut for the most part. I'll go up there and take a look, let you know if there's anything of note. But I'm telling you, and I'm always going to say this, the rear suspensions are always the more interesting of the two, at least in my opinion. Well, this is our 2025 Tiguan SEL R-Line. Did I mention this is an all-new vehicle? It really is. It's pretty much a complete makeover, and our base price of this complete makeover is $39,755, and with options, and the only option we have is that beautiful Monterey blue exterior paint, which is over $400. Our MSRP comes to $41,635. So the Tiguan is a great little machine. I love the size more than anything else because I think it's a very practical size. It got terrific mileage and it was a very pleasant driver. And you got your all-wheel drive and you got your cargo space. So there you go. Y'all take care. See you soon.
Do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like the tube. You eat like the tube. You raise your children like the tube. You even think like the tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion.